Hi, my name is Jenna. Today I'm here to do my October wrap up and my November TBR. I read 4 books in October and I'm a little surprised about that because I haven't read anything in so long, and in October I had like a real urge to listen to audiobooks, which also hasn't happened in a really long time. So actually 3 of these reads are audiobooks and that weirds me out a little bit, but everything's fine. So pretty much I guess we're just gonna jump right into the books that I read. So the first book that I read this month was an audiobook, and that was All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This one was on my anticipated 2020 new releases list and I sort of forgot that it came out, which is a little bit sad, but I sort of forgot that it came out, and then I really wanted to read like a mystery thriller but YA sort of thing for October. I found that my library actually had the audiobook and I went, you know what? Why not? Why not listen to the audiobook? And I really found that I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was very Agatha Christie meets Pretty Little Liars, and all of that is a total yes for me. I must admit, I did see the ending coming like a mile away, but that's fine. She's no Agatha Christie, but I still really enjoyed myself. So this book pretty much follows a group of 6 kids who are invited to this scholarship dinner, and when they get there they are locked in and they realize that they have 1 hour to kill someone or this bomb will explode and kill them all. And then that sort of is the overarching story. So we sort of have this 1 hour in this room, and then the rest of the story is told in flashbacks to figure out who these characters are and how they got to where they did. And it was really well done. I really enjoyed it. I picked the majority of the ending of the novel. There was one thing that I didn't see coming and I didn't expect, and I really sort of sat back and went, ooh, didn't expect them to go there, but they did. So this is one that I really enjoyed. I don't know what else to say, I really enjoyed it. Second book that I read this month was Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M.McManus. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This was another one that I listened to on audiobook and I didn't love this one. So I have read Karen M.McManus's One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next duology, and I freaking loved those books. One of Us is Lying is a fantastic novel and I cannot wait to see it on screen. It's going to be interesting, and I say interesting because I don't know what their casting is like. I haven't really looked much into it, but I really loved that book. And Two Can Keep a Secret just wasn't as great, and it sort of all ended very abruptly, so I feel like I didn't get much time to process everything that was happening. I didn't get much time to process all of the information that was thrown out at me. It was still a really fun and enjoyable read. It just wasn't something that I really loved. And then after that, the Because We Can Readathon Travel Edition was running, so I put 3 books on my TBR. I managed to read 2 of them, so I'm pretty happy about that. The first book that I read again on audiobook, and that was The Secret Runners of New York by Matthew Reilly. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This book was just not what I was expecting. So I was expecting a book about these kids who found this tunnel that took them into the future. They realize there's been an apocalypse, and then they somehow have to find a way to either stop it or find a way to ride it out so that they don't get killed. It's not what this book was about, like, at all. I learned a lot about debutante balls and the upper class society of New York while reading this novel. And while the tunnel was a thing and like the apocalypse was a thing, it wasn't a thing in the way I was expecting it to be. And then the ending just left me kind of like, sorry, what? That's what you're gonna do? So I don't know, I didn't love this one. I thought it was alright. It wasn't amazing, and I don't know if I'd recommend it to people. Like, it was kind of an enjoyable read, and by the time we got to like halfway through the novel, when they really started to go out into this apocalyptic New York and they found things, that was interesting. Like, they sort of go to all their apartments and they sort of find out what happens to them in the future, and that was all really interesting. The breaking down of the class structure was really interesting in this novel, and seeing the way humans react to the end of the world, that was really interesting, and I did like that. There were definitely interesting parts of the novel, just the actual main storyline and the characters were not interesting at all. And then the last book that I read for the Because We Can Readathon, and the last book that I read in October, was The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi, Heilig, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Again, this one I didn't know what to expect going in, but it wasn't really what I expected. So this book follows a girl named Nix. She is traveling on a ship with her father, and if they have the right map, they can go anywhere and any time, and they are looking for this particular map so that he can go back and save her mother. And I just thought that was gonna be the whole book, and it sort of was. But they spent a hell of a lot of time in Hawaii, as in like a good 2/3 probably of the book was in Hawaii, and I thought they were gonna be traveling all over the place to so many different times, so many different places, and they just weren't. I don't know if I loved the characters in this book. They all just felt sort of flat to me, and the settings were really well, it was mostly in Hawaii, but Hawaii itself was really interesting, and I kind of want to learn a bit more about it because this is back when apparently Hawaii had a king, which I was not aware of, but now it's something I kind of want to look into. And I don't know if I'll continue on with this series. I know it's a second, I think it's a duology. I think there's a second book, and I'm kind of interested, but at the same time the ending was sort of really anticlimactic for me. Like, they spent this whole book trying to do something, and then at the end they were sort of like, maybe next time. I'm like, what do you mean maybe next time? What are you doing? So I don't know how I feel about this book. I really, really don't. There you go. Those are all of the books that I read in October. I'm still shocked that I read 4 books in October. Of course, only one of them was on my TBR at the start of the year, so yay. First book on my TBR for November is The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I am 262 pages into this book and I haven't finished it yet, so I'm about halfway, and I need to finish it because I started it, therefore I need to finish it, but I'm not enjoying it. It's not a great book, so I'm struggling. I'm not going to be reading the YA Circle Book Club Book of the Month, mainly because I do not have time and I am not that interested in it, and I really don't want to buy any more books this year. There's one book I'm allowed to buy this year, and that is Stormbreak by Natalie C. Parker, but apart from that I'm not buying anything else. So I have the TBR jar here, and I've changed it. The TBR jar is now an actual TBR jar, and there are actual book titles in this TBR, because I've realized I am terrible at making decisions of when I want to read something or when I want to watch something. And you guys know I've been pulling out shows from the tin for my TV show watching, and it's working really, really well for me. So I figured, why not give that a go for books? So in this TBR, we have got all of the books that are on my I want to read them by the end of 2020 sort of list. So pretty much any book on my shelf that is a 2020 new release is in here. And I am only going to pick out I'm going to pick out 2 books from this TBR, because I think 2.5 books really for that one. I feel like that's a fairly safe goal to reach. So because it is Nano this month and I'm actually doing Nano, which is just the worst. So, oh my god, I've got like 5 here. Okay, so you know how I said I was pulling 2 books out of this jar? I'm not, I'm only picking 1, and that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. So that's the only book we're reading this month. That and The Other Side of the Sky. And there you go, that was my October wrap up and my November TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you read in October, because I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.